Hello and welcome back to Podcast with a K. I'm your host, Carla with a K. You're listening to 90.1 WECS FM, and I'm joined here on this fine Sunday evening by none other than Arturo Martinez, Mr. President, on President's Day Eve.
What do you do? What's up?
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for blessing me up,
Of
coming here for
course.
the podcast.
Of course.
I was getting a little jealous. I seen all these guests, Nah, it's fine.
Had to have you on at some point.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're excited. Your first time on a radio show?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see how it goes.
Of course.
Might get a little nervous, but I'm excited to talk about the topics that we have for tonight.
Of course. Tonight's topics are real interesting, and I love whenever people actually have topics like lined up that they want to discuss, because it just makes for such a more cohesive show. But first things first, we have to introduce you to the listeners. Important things, So we are, of course, at a school station. So what are you studying?
So I'm studying right now computer science.
Yeah.
And math. I'm a computer science and math major. Currently a junior. And, I guess, what else? I guess I'm the president of the Organization of Latin American Students.
Yep.
And, I spend my free time, watching anime. So that's the only thing I do. I know, anime and Star Wars and, Marvel movies are, my life right now.
Of course. I mean, there's always content. There's always new things to focus on.
Yeah, I just always got to keep myself busy,
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not doing homework, you're going to be catching me watching anime or anything.
Of course. And that's your current obsession then?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Gotcha.
Anime, it's a bunch of them right now going, happening. So, they're really fun to watch at times.
Yeah. See, a lot of people always try to get me into anime, and I can't do it.
Why not? I mean,
It's
you got to
just-
watch the right. So when I started, I couldn't get into it,
Right.
Growing up in Mexico,
Yeah.
the biggest one was Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
So that's the thing that got me into it. But what got me really into anime was this anime called Attack on Titan. So,
Got you.
and, it's one of the best animes I've watched,
So
and it's
I
on
hear.
Netflix, so it's accessible,
Okay.
The thing about an anime, if you really want to watch really good anime,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it might not be on Netflix, so you have to purchase a separate streaming plan.
Got you. Or bootleg it.
Yeah, or bootleg it, yeah. So yeah, it's not as accessible as the things that we have on Netflix,
Right. So it's convenient that it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Maybe I'll give it a chance at some point.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most important question we ask here during our introduction segment is, what is your zodiac sign?
Is that my horoscope?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know about that much, but I think I am a Cancer. I was born in June, late June.
Yeah, you'd be a Cancer.
So yes, I'm a Cancer. So
Amazing.
I really don't know what that means.
I might be biased because I'm also a Cancer.
Okay.
So I know a little bit about, So Cancers are stereotypically the more emotional sign, because the symbol, I guess, of Cancer is a crab, right? So
Yeah.
hard exterior, soft interior. But Cancers are usually creative, driven, motivated.
Okay, I see that.
It's the vibe. But a lot of Cancer's decisions and stuff are made by not just logic, but also by how you feel about it. That's
Yeah.
the big word for Cancer is just how you feel.
Okay, yeah.
Would you see yourself relating to that?
Yeah, I think I do, because sometimes, my emotions might take over my decisions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, guy into zodiac signs,
Right.
but sometimes, I see, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
I dig
ask,
it.
do you believe in that at all?
I actually don't,
Uh-huh.
but I don't mind, it's actually interesting, what
Yeah.
you can read.
Right.
I know you can get your daily.
Yeah, your daily little horoscope.
Yeah,
type
yeah.
things.
So I mean, I don't mind it. I think it's
Uh-huh.
interesting.
Yeah.
To read.
See, that's how I felt about it for a long time. I was just it's just kind of something to be there. But
Yeah,
recently, and of course, the internet kind of helps, because it's kind of all over the place. It doesn't matter if you care about it or not. You'll probably see your horoscope at some point.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how it lines up and how people either agree or disagree, because we're all just kind of searching for a way to identify ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. And I love asking people if they believe in it or not, because
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
a different insight.
I guess, for me, it's just like it's interesting to like know, like you just mentioned that, so I completely agree with some of the things that you said. So,
Right.
sometimes like I feel like I'm mind blown, like with the things that
It's
come
like
up.
it's weirdly accurate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I say this a lot on the show because it comes up a lot, but like some of my friends that don't believe in it, I'm like, okay, but do you relate to this? Do you relate to that? And almost always like they relate to
yeah.
their own traits and not to the others. I'm just like,
Yeah.
the stars don't lie, bro.
It's weird, for
Yeah.
me.
But okay, so last question then. Give us a song to listen to so we can hop right into it.
Okay, so I'm a big like Bad Bunny fan.
Of course.
And I'm always about the Bad Bunny vibe,
Definitely.
the chill vibes. So I'm not sure. There's so many songs that I can like, recommend.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my favorite ones like would be Estamos Bien,
Yep.
just because like it has that feel good vibe.
Yes, definitely.
And like that's something that I like really like from that song and makes
For
me feel
sure.
good. Yeah, so that's one of my recommended songs. I know many people listen to Bad Bunny,
Of
so
course. Up and coming to absolute superstar right overnight.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, Bad Bunny, it's a must on everybody's playlist.
All right, so without further ado, here y'all go. Estamos Bien by Bad Bunny. Always astounding. He dropped a new song a few days ago.
Yes.
Have you heard it?
Yes,
Of course.
it's really good.
It's so good.
And the fact that Set is in it too. So
yeah,
it's-
exactly.
I think he's one of the up and coming artists too. Like,
yeah, mad underrated too.
Yeah.
Like I was listening through like other tracks and I was like, there's just so much talent
Yes.
out there. We just don't know about it. That's crazy. But
yeah, no, it's an amazing song.
yeah, it is. I don't think he's capable of making a song that's not catchy.
Yeah, no, every song like he collaborates with or like makes by himself,
Yeah.
he's just like really, really good.
Right.
It's always on repeat on my phone.
For sure. This man has like I think gone to the top of a lot of our like the most listened to thing on Spotify.
Yes,
like unbelievable.
definitely, yeah.
I remember whenever the year in review type thing comes
Mhm.
up and I was like for like the first half of the year I don't think I even listened to Bad Bunny and now it's like one of the most played artists. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, it's just the fact that like whatever he's doing, it's working, Like
Yeah.
he's combining, trap music and combining it to Latin music, and
Yeah.
that's something that's never done before. So
Right.
people like that.
I know, and the thing is he's doing it well. It's not
Yes,
like just
yeah.
kind of for a gimmick, like it's genuinely a good sound.
Yep.
And he does have like a very unique voice which I think
Yeah.
carries him like to the top of the charts.
I think that's one of his like defining features. His voice is
Yeah.
just so unique.
Right. It's amazing. But speaking of things that are amazing, look at that segue. What do you think about the Galaxy Z Flip?
So yeah, it's when I heard about it, it was just so weird, because like it's a flip phone.
Yeah.
That's a touchscreen phone.
Right.
So it was like, I was like, are we going back to like the flip phone era where like the Motorola Razr?
Yes.
Uh,
Was it necessary? Did we ask for it?
So I personally didn't, but like I follow a lot of like news websites
Yeah.
where like Engadget.com and all
Mhm.
those, and I read the comments, and apparently there's a market for that.
Yeah.
There's some people that actually are interested in, buying phones that are like touchscreen that flips.
Yeah.
So I guess I was watching the commercials during I don't know if it was during the Super Bowl or like
Yeah.
I believe there were some commercials with it, and like I don't know, like the concept looks interesting,
Yeah.
like the way like when you kind of like semi flip, not close the
Yeah,
phone, but like
you can like prop it up like kind of at a 90-degree angle.
yes,
Yeah.
so it's like you can use it like a selfie cam.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you can like the top part of the screen is like the
Mhm.
camera, and then
Yeah.
the bottom part's like you can like customize like the
Yeah.
picture. It was like interesting,
Yeah, I was going through it whenever you suggested this as a topic, and it looks really freaking cool because you can like open it to like any angle, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so like that's good like already like in terms of control because like you can use it to watch TV, like you
Mhm.
said, as a selfie camera, just kind of like to prop it up somewhere if you're like monitoring like your notifications or something.
Yeah.
But I also saw something like you can click a button if you're taking a picture of somebody and it turns the back of it into a viewfinder. So that way
Yes.
they can also see it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's crazy, you know. But I don't know, like I don't know how it will hold up. You know, there's
Yeah.
several issues with
Right.
several like phones in the past because this is not the first.
Yeah, Samsung had tried one before, right?
Yeah. So Samsung did like kind of like a tablet-sized phone
Yeah.
that folds,
Right.
but like the hinge was
Yeah.
not like it would break after a certain amount of times.
And like dust and like crumbs and stuff would get in it, right?
Yeah.
Like under the screen.
Yeah. So it's like, and they're really expensive.
Yeah.
The first one, the Samsung Fold, that was like over $2,000.
Sheesh.
So imagine buying a $2,000 phone just
for it to break immediately.
So I don't know, like the Samsung Flip. I don't know if it will actually stick to the market or if it's just like a
Just kind of like
gimmick.
Yeah, it's just like trendy for now.
Yeah.
But I was reading up on like what people who've like tried it out, like people who tested it were concerned about, and whenever you close it, like the front of it's also touchscreen, right? And like you can see like your notifications, you can see the time, you can see other stuff. But to me, that's just like, how do you protect a phone that's all screen, like front and back, right? Because like with like phones now, like one side's the screen, the other side usually has a case on it, and like obviously screen protectors, please use them.
Yes, please do.
But with this one, like cases obviously don't exist for it other than the one, apparently it comes with like a little clear case and a screen protector. You wouldn't be able to put it on because it won't like be flexible enough to like fold. So like how do you even protect a phone like that? Like how do you clean it? It's just like super sensitive and delicate.
I mean, I guess you can go with the skin route, like the skins, sticker skins that you can use to like protect them. But like you said, some of like the parts behind the phone is like touchscreen. So you know, when we buy our phones, the first thing we buy is the screen protector and the case. So, you know, those phones are really expensive. So I was like, you're running the risk of like, you know, I don't know, breaking them or something. You know, I don't know. Like it's just you just got to protect them. So I don't know. Like for me, it's a no go. I don't see like I don't see the you know the pros of owning one of those phones. But it is definitely like interesting the fact that like the technology that's being implemented, like bendable screens. Yeah, I can see that being useful in other ways, but not for a phone.
Yeah, I feel like, cause what's the Windows tablet, right? Or the Surface tablet, right?
So
like that's a really cool implication of it, because like it is useful and it's handy, and it's everything about it is really sleek and nicely designed. But that's because whenever you have a tablet / laptop, like it's kind of a similar functionality just because of the size of it, right? Yeah. But I don't know, with a phone, like to have that in your pocket, like I guess it's cool, like in case like say you want to take like a group picture or something like that, right? Or like you're watching TV and you don't have like a pop socket or something to like prop your phone up on. But I feel like the biggest perk of it is just being able to like dramatically snap your phone shut at the end of like a phone call or something.
I guess you save like on like the space.
Yeah.
Since like but then when you close it up, it's like thicker than a regular
it's like
phone.
It's bulkier. And again, this is without a case.
Yeah.
It's just the phone itself.
Yeah, it probably feels like a block that you have in your pocket.
Like one of those like old like oversized wallets.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like you said, there's a market for it for sure. But I wonder how it's gonna hold up, because like just the wear and tear of having a phone that's consistently like open and closing, like I don't know, the durability of it and versus the price of it. And
it's like you never know, it might actually become a thing. You know?
The next big thing.
When I was in high school, I remember like the big like the 6-inch phones came out. Yeah. And I was like, why would people buy them? You know, like why don't you just get a tablet? You know?
Exactly.
But then like a few years later, you know, I get like a 6-inch phone.
Of course.
And like, having bigger screen is nice. So I know, I guess flipping your phone might be nice. Yeah.
I can see myself definitely using it for like the watching like TV or like watching Netflix or something on it. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if other companies will try it too. Yeah. And like I said, like the technology, I'm curious to see what companies will do with that technology. Yeah. You know? How will they use that technology to like make different products? There's a lot to build off of. Yeah, so we'll see. You know, it's an interesting product, and if people want to like research more about it or learn more about it, you know, look it up. Right, of course. Kind of bouncing off of the phones thing. We also wanted to hit on the topic of the Sprint T-Mobile merger,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of unforeseen. It's been going on for about a month, right?
Yeah. So actually, yeah, this last month, like there was. So actually, I believe, I'm not sure if I'm right, but I believe so basically T-Mobile was proposed to purchase Sprint
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of state attorneys, or what do you call them from the states? The AGs,
Attorney General.
attorney
Yeah.
generals. Yeah. So they a couple of them bounded together because they saw this kind of like a monopoly type of
Right.
style. So they kind of sue in order for like to stop this
stop the
merger
merger, yeah.
from happening, because as we know, T-Mobile and Sprint are like the third and fourth
Yeah,
biggest.
they're massive at this point.
Yeah, they're really massive, and having them combine, that's
Mhm.
gonna put
For sure.
issues with like monopoly issues and all
Because that's
that.
why Sprint wanted to do it, right? Because
Mhm.
it still comes down to them competing against Verizon.
Yeah, yes, yeah, definitely. And from what I know is that it's for a couple of years they've been fighting to
Mhm.
not allow this, but apparently a federal judge ruled in favor of T-Mobile and Sprint. So
Yeah.
now they're looking into merging each other.
Right.
But there are certain rules that have been applied in order for this to happen.
Mhm.
I was reading that if you know that Sprint has Boost Mobile,
Yeah.
so apparently Boost Mobile is going to be sold to Dish,
Yeah.
and Dish is going to become the fourth biggest.
Right, which is
So,
insane.
which-
And Virgin Mobile was bought by Boost Mobile as well. So like
Yeah.
it's like it's all just kind of like being pushed together.
Yeah, so like you said, like the customers for Virgin Mobile and Boost Mobile are being
Yeah.
migrated to Dish.
Right.
So it's like it's something that like came out of nowhere, like
Yeah.
Dish, like you would never
Like,
expect.
Did Dish still exist? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's a market for that. There's still a market for
Right.
satellite radio.
Right.
But I mean, TV. But yeah, so it's like I don't know, like I don't know how I feel about it, because on the other hand, you got two massive networks that are
Right.
combining to big this massive network. But as we have noticed, T-Mobile has like shaken up the cell phone industry
Yeah.
service.
T-Mobile's
Uh,
doing really, really well right
Yeah,
now.
and they actually surpassed Sprint as the third
Yeah.
largest network. So
Which is insane because it used to be Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T.
AT&T,
Yeah. And then AT&T kind of started to fall off, right?
It's actually Sprint.
Okay.
From what my understanding right now, the biggest ones is, I think at first is AT&T,
Yeah.
and then at second is Verizon, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah, I
or.
thought it was
mean,
Verizon at the top, but like,
Yeah, you might be right actually, but
Either
either
way.
way, both of them are like really really massive,
right.
cell phone service companies.
And Sprint has been fighting so hard to try to
Yeah, and
come up on
recently
top.
like Sprint has not been doing good.
Mhm.
I had Sprint in the past and
Yeah.
back home in Atlanta, so
Right.
I didn't really get a good reception.
Okay.
So I think the whole goal for this merger is to like combine the technology that T-Mobile has and the
Right.
technology that Sprint has to put a fight against Verizon and Sprint.
Yeah, and I was reading up on it too, and it said that their main goal is to like increase coverage and try to
Mhm.
establish like 5G service,
Yeah.
which is supposed to be faster and smoother.
Yeah. So
like,
So 5G is like one of the most exciting technologies that are up and coming.
Right.
Like we could finally ditch the internet service providers.
Yeah.
And actually go for like
Full
providers, wireless providers. So that's crazy,
Right.
to think about it, because
Yeah.
not only will it help like homes, but it also help like solve many issues surrounding,
Right.
health industry, environmental preservation industry. So it's really exciting. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that this merger is
Like
It's-
successful.
not successful, but like I hope that if it does happen in the end, in the long run, that it actually is for the benefit of the customers
Okay,
and not
yeah.
for the corporations. So
See,
that,
and that's where it gets messy because it's always about the corporations.
Yeah.
They just want more money.
yes, yeah. So that's what I'm worried about. Just the CEOs lining up, their pockets with
Yeah.
more customers and overcharging.
Right, because that's the
Over.
main concern right now is that in exchange for, better services and new technology and just innovative everything, prices are going to go up, right? And I mean, that was the whole point of, I guess, like, what do they call this? Uncarrier, T-Mobile?
Yeah,
like,
the uncarrier. Yes.
to provide like a different option where it's like cheaper, contracts aren't necessary, and you still have like quality service. But this merger with Sprint, I feel like is gonna, at some point, I feel like there's gonna be an issue with like prices going up and just kind of like in the adjustment of like services changing. I feel like the quality is gonna go down for a bit just while everything gets sorted out.
Yeah, so I feel like that's gonna happen too. The quality might be going a little bit down, but with the new technology or 5G, maybe it might come up.
Do you think it'll be enough for people to, I guess, turn away from Sprint just because they don't want to have to change like their plans or their? Because I did see something that said that people who had like older cell phones might have to upgrade their phones just because like the service wouldn't be compatible with the device. So, I don't know.
So I think the issue with that is that Sprint. So I know many people don't know this, so this is like my nerdy part coming in right here about technology.
Please.
So as you know, AT&T, well, as I know, I'm basically
enlighten us.
AT&T and T-Mobile, the way they do their signal reception to our phones is basically through, it's called GSM signal or something like that. Basically, that's basically has to deal with like the SIM cards that we use.
Right.
So they AT&T and T-Mobile use SIM cards in order for you to like get your signal and everything linked to your account, I believe.
Yes.
And then Verizon and Sprint use this type of signal called CDMA. Yeah. And it's something that's like pre-programmed into the phone.
Okay.
They don't use SIM cards, I believe. Or at the time when I had Sprint,
they didn't.
They didn't. Yeah. So I think that's going to be an issue, trying to like migrate the customers of Sprint into T-Mobile. Yeah. So I see why people might need to upgrade their phones in order to like accommodate for the SIM card phones.
And do you think people will be willing to make that change?
I think so because there's a huge benefit of, having your phone being like a SIM card form because the resale value, it's bigger. If you're trying to buy like a phone that's like Verizon or like Sprint, it's kind of hard because it's already like
it's programmed to work with them specifically.
So it's harder to like unlock them. With any like SIM card phone, you can just
switch it out.
Like you can call the company, tell them I want to unlock my phone, they'll unlock it, and then switch it out, and like you can stop being an AT&T customer and go with like I don't know, like a prepaid.
Right.
Because I know those prepaid ones use the towers of many of these major carriers.
So like Virgin and Boost, I think both use Sprint, right?
Yeah, so you're pretty much getting the same service at a cheaper price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people just won't want to have to like switch up their plans of anything. Like if you have to upgrade your phone, like a fuerza, like fine. Like there's people that'll do it, right? But I feel like there might be, if anything, this might be a win for, like you said, the prepaid companies, just because it'll be simpler, it'll be cheaper, and people get to hang on to their phones. Yeah. At the very least, just like while they decide if they're going to stick with their current service provider.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this, actually end up helping the customers, but not. So I don't know. Like we never know, we never know who's making those decisions and what their end goal is. But, like I believe that, the customer should be the main priority, and not the...
What an optimistic perspective.
I like being optimistic, but most of the time it never happens. So And
I feel like the 5G thing will be a good push because there's been so many issues with like internet service providers like kind of working with other companies and it hasn't been in the news as much recently, but it was in the past about how like some sites will pay more, so they'll have faster access to that instead of something else. Like if you have someone like that's got like a partnership with like Google or something, Google sites will work faster than like Microsoft. So like you would be able to use Google faster than Bing and like YouTube over Vimeo or like whatever. Yeah. Right. And I feel like if everything is just wireless instead of having to actually like pay to have like Wi-Fi in your house or internet like that, it would, I don't know, I feel like that would also change that entire aspect
Yeah.
of it as well.
And it's interesting that you brought that point because that brings back to like the net neutrality
Yeah.
point. And that's something that a lot of people don't know about, but that should be concerned about because
Yes.
we need a free internet.
Right.
And the way that this, I don't want to get political, but
No,
like
go for it.
we'll get political because the way this this administration is running the things right now in this country, it doesn't look good for net neutrality.
Right.
And that's when you brought the point about like how websites could start charging you for like faster service.
Right.
And that's something like that should not happen. You know, the internet should be free, should be, I guess, I mean, technically, like in quotation marks, free.
Right, because
but,
you're
like,
still paying to
you're still paying,
be
but,
able to use the internet.
but like free as in like it shouldn't be restricted.
Right,
by
right.
corporations. You know, I shouldn't be paying, you know, like my internet provider like an extra $5 so that Netflix can run faster.
Yeah, exactly. Like you shouldn't have to subscribe to sites.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
Yeah, it's like, I guess I don't know what's happening, but everything's turned into like subscription based.
Right. Right.
So,
what a terrible future we live in.
I know. So I'm hoping we avoid that, but yeah, net neutrality is one of the biggest issues that have been. You know,
give us a quick rundown on net neutrality for anyone that might be listening and doesn't know.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, so
Right.
this is what I know about net neutrality. I try to follow the news, but basically, there has been many, I guess, policies implemented that kind of like are trying to like restrict the way we access the internet. And worst case scenario is that, you know, you start paying for extra fees for accessing different websites.
Right.
But basically corporations are trying to like dictate the way we use the internet. Corporations such as Comcast,
Yeah.
Verizon, you know, these huge tech corporations that are like paid billions of dollars to like make money out of us.
Right.
So in a sense, net neutrality is, I guess, the movement in itself is trying to fight these corporations from implementing this type of rules.
Yeah.
And I know like a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if it was Congress or the House or both.
Yeah.
Since it was like Republican control.
Right.
They passed some type of resolution, or if it was the FCC.
Yeah.
But it was something that would favor the companies.
Yeah.
Give them more power.
There was a huge push to like contact your representatives. Don't let the FCC do this, like, because a free and open internet at this point, it's necessary because everything we do is almost everything is connected to the internet.
Yeah.
We need it for so many things, and to have to kind of feed into this hierarchy, right? Like the more money you have, the better that the better it's gonna go for you.
Yeah.
Like,
and the internet is part of our freedom of speech, and taking the internet away from us, it's you know, it's a hit to the First Amendment, you know.
And it's also interesting because this would also affect like news sites and stuff, right? Like based on like who their partners are, like who's like they're hosting. If we lose access to like having different different news sites and different sources, then it becomes a thing of like controlled information and controlled media, which is also like an issue.
Yeah, so I definitely, you know, encourage people to, you know, to search it up. It's definitely like not over, you know. It's still being, you know, being brought up, and you know, companies are still, you know, looking to like, you know, take control over the internet.
Right.
So it should be, I believe, in my opinion, that it should be one of the things that people should have at top of their list as, you know, like environmental, you know, justice, you know, social justice. That should be one, you know, at the top, because at the end of the day, we need the internet to spread that. You know, we use Facebook, we use Twitter, we use Instagram, we use social media to spread awareness about other movements. If that's being attacked, then that's gonna be,
because it's so much more than entertainment. At this point, it's information.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're completely right. Like, it's It's so frustrating that
Yeah.
it's gotten this far too,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see.
Yeah, let's just
as
hope
usual.
we don't have to pay $5 extra just to watch Netflix.
Right. All right. Let's transition out of this with another song break. So,
Okay.
what other song you got for us?
So I'm all about the vibes. I always like chill songs, and I feel like many people don't know about me. But I'm a huge Frank Ocean fan.
Oh snap!
I
You mean you don't
love.
just listen to Bad Bunny?
No, I don't. I listen to Frank Ocean. To tell you, I'm not like. I didn't start listening to him when he first started.
Yeah.
Like when he came out with his most recent album.
Yeah.
That's when I started listening to him more, and I
Gotcha.
was like, "This dude is pretty good." Like
Yeah.
the vibes he's emitting, it's
Such a
chill.
mood.
It's like so relaxing.
Yeah.
So this next song is like reminds me of the things that I like the most, which are like shoes, Nikes,
Yeah.
and like Frank Ocean and like good vibes.
Right.
So Nikes is one of my favorite songs that I like to listen to, and some of the songs that I would recommend, for you to be having your playlist.
Of course. So here y'all go. Nikes by Frank Ocean. Nikes by Frank Ocean. What a vibe.
Such a good song.
Really is.
I love the beats too.
Yeah, like
The beats are so amazing, and that's the thing about Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
Like he's a really amazing musician, and
Yeah.
like the way he makes his music is like really, really unique.
yeah, like composition wise, like all of the tracks are super interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good. We stan. And talking about things we stan, if y'all know Arturo, y'all know that he's obsessed with Disney.
Yep, I'm over here talking about corporations. I'm like, please don't touch this thing.
No monopoly, but also like Disney.
Yeah. Just Disney, they get a pass.
Disney gets a pass.
No, they don't get a pass. But yeah, Disney, they're doing a lot of things that have shaken up the industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I really like they're doing.
So what's got your attention with Disney right now?
So obviously, the number one thing is Star Wars.
Of
Star Wars
course.
is like, I don't know. Star Wars is like my. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes.
Okay. Star Wars is my. Yeah. No. Since I was little, Star Wars. When I was introduced into Star Wars, it's just like amazing. Something that is literally out of this world, and
Yeah, literally.
and like the concepts, the storylines, there's a lot that people can relate to.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Like the lightsabers are amazing.
Yes.
The Force is just like amazing. If that was a religion, I would totally be into it.
You can start it, man. I'm sure there's enough people that are just as obsessed that would follow it.
I'm sure. Actually, fun fact: it's actually a religion called Jediism.
You are lying.
I'm not lying.
Oh my goodness.
Search it up. I'm sure like some people just got together and said we're Jedis or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I believe that they actually like do events where they actually like
get together.
you actually get
Oh my
together
God.
and like battle with like lightsabers.
Wait, what type of religion is this? Like you just go hang and you fight.
Yeah,
That's
so
like
it's
your
like
common belief.
I don't know if there's a local chapter, everybody knows that. Hit me up. I'm trying to do that.
All right.
I mean, it looks really fun.
Just fight with lightsabers.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, I feel like that's definitely something that would actually happen here. There's definitely enough Star Wars fans.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's trying to do a battle, hit me up. Meet me in the, I don't know, meet me at the Laurel parking lot.
You heard it here first, y'all. Okay, so then let's talk about Star Wars, and what are your opinions on everything that's been, kind of recent and new? Because my knowledge of Star Wars is basically just the internet. I haven't been able to force myself to dedicate the time to actually watch.
Yeah.
But like a lot of my friends are into it, and of course everyone talks about it on Twitter and stuff.
Mhm.
So what are your opinions, and do they line up with the general public's?
Yeah, so I think my opinions will vary from what people post on Twitter or like
Yeah.
social media. I actually, if I had to rank, the movies,
Yeah.
I'll talk specifically about the movies because that's the main thing about Star Wars,
Okay.
the movies. Uh, Obviously, the first movies, the ones that first came out, they're obviously at the top
Right.
of what Star Wars can
They're the
become.
originals.
They're originals and like they're just really really good.
Right.
My second would be the prequel
Mm-hmm.
to the originals. That's like my second
Yeah.
spot.
The second tier.
Yeah, and then last tier will be the new movies.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people like the new movies. I feel like episode 9 was good. It was
Yeah.
good. It was good because they brought a lot of nostalgia from the
Mhm.
old movies.
Right.
As you guys know, they brought like many of the original characters back.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see that having to like have them interact with the new characters.
Right.
But after The Last Jedi, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I
What?
really don't know because they had so much potential.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it, but
You can go ahead and
I can spoil it.
Yeah.
All
Go
right.
for
So
it.
basically, they kill off Supreme Leader Snoke, which
Mhm.
was like the bad guy,
Right.
And like there was a lot of theories of who he was because there was people didn't really know. Like they
Yeah.
really didn't build off like an origin storyline for
Right.
Snoke.
Right.
And I got really upset that they killed him because I read like some of the books and some of the things that happened before Disney acquired
Mhm.
Lucasfilms.
Right.
And as you guys know, when Disney acquired Lucasfilms, the kind of like the expanded universe that Lucasfilms had like built
Yeah.
with like the books, the video
Mhm.
games, was all like scratched. It started like
Dang.
as new. So you had like
Crazy.
hundreds of books, hundreds of video games,
Just scrapped completely.
comics, scrapped just
Ugh.
because Disney did not.
Disney, man. Come on.
Yeah, so they kind of like label it into like the Star Wars Legends now. It's
Right.
under that label.
Yeah.
It still exists, but like, it's not like
Just
canon.
kind of as a
It's not-
separate entity.
So, but the thing that they're doing is that they're kind of like in the new movies that have come out, kind of like implemented some of those concepts from the Star Wars Legends
Mm-hmm.
into the new one. So let's say Ben Solo, he's
Yeah.
actually kind of like the same character.
Mhm.
It happens like in the Star Wars Legends, there was another character that Leia and Han Solo had.
Yeah.
It was her son, and he turned into the dark side too.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they did Ben Solo was a little bit different than
Right.
what I forgot the name of that character, but it's something similar to Ben Solo. And he had a sister. So in the Disney version, he was just by himself. He was just
Okay.
one.
So they
one
like
kid.
shifted it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
Gotcha.
shifted it, but they did a lot of changes that I didn't like, but
Right.
they did a lot of changes that I really like. For
Yeah.
example, like the spin-off movies,
Mhm.
the one with Diego Luna,
Yes.
Star Wars Rogue One.
Uh-huh.
In my opinion, that's the best Star Wars movie, the new Star Wars movie that has
Right.
come out of Disney.
Of all of them, yeah.
Yeah, and they're looking to make a TV series.
That I did see.
prequel.
That right there, I
So-
was like, perhaps now is the time.
So I'm super excited
Yeah.
for that prequel TV series.
Yeah.
Of course, it's my boy Diego Luna.
Of course.
He's
A
representing.
king.
He played a major character in that movie,
Yeah.
so it's always good to have representation,
Yeah.
as well as the guy who played Poe.
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but he's from Guatemala.
Yeah.
So it was
yeah.
really cool to like start finally seeing like a good representation
Right.
of people like me,
Yeah.
and people like us Latinos,
Yes.
being in these blockbuster movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that Disney has done really good was The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
because they kind of like brought a lot of elements from the Star Wars Legends,
Right.
which is like the Mandalore and
Yeah.
Mandalorians. Mandalorians are like really, really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
not because like of Boba Fett, but because
Right.
of how like they live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you watched the show, but like
I started it.
you started it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil it.
I mean, like I said, I live on the internet, so I see a lot of it
Okay.
anyway.
It's not a spoiler, but like they're kind of like they're not a race. They're like
Right.
I think they call themselves like a creed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like different people coming into like kind of like this tribe type of living style. They live in tribes.
Right.
So it's like they are. It's just weird how they operate because they're like, in the Star Wars Legends, they're this kind of like creed of warriors that go around the galaxy waging war against any world.
Got you.
Just because that's how they are. They're just warriors that like
That's
to fight.
their vibe.
And that's, as you can see, like that's how the Mando lives by. He's just looking for the next job. What's his next job? So that's how they live. So it's interesting because they played a major part in the Star Wars Legends.
Yeah. The parallels are really interesting to see.
And they actually play a big part in the Star Wars Legends and actually go against one of my favorite characters out of the Star Wars Legends.
Really?
Which was like a Jedi that turned into a Sith.
Got you.
Because he got obsessed of trying to like eradicate this creed of Mandalores and destroy their planet because he didn't like them. Which in turn turned him into a Sith.
Well dang.
So it's Star Wars is interesting, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
It's massive. There's a lot to keep track of. Which
is why I got so upset that they got rid of the Star Wars Legends. You know, it's not canon anymore.
Right.
But they're starting to bring some of those stories into the new Star Wars.
Yeah. One of our listeners asked what you thought about the end of the saga and the new cast and the deaths of the original characters, etc.
The end of the saga. I got so much mixed feelings because, first of all, I don't believe that Ben and Rey should have had a connection, that type of connection. Like they caught me off guard when they kissed because like I never thought they were like into each other.
Right.
I was like, what's going on? You know, I wish that Rey had that connection, but with what's his name? The stormtrooper that turned good. I'm drawing blank right now. But with the FN something, I forgot his name. I'm drawing blank right now, and like I'm just I'm over here saying I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm drawing blank on their names.
Wow, I can't remember the character.
But I just didn't see that coming. But other than that, like the last movie, the way they ended it was like, it was pretty cool that they brought Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of cool, but it was like confusing because there was because of The Last Jedi, the way they messed up this new trilogy because of The Last Jedi.
Right.
This new movie was like kind of like a fan service to fans.
Right.
And there was a lot of things that were not explained.
Yeah.
Like, how did Emperor Palpatine come back to life?
Right.
Like, what happened, you know? Like, we saw that he got thrown into this pit in the Death Star and he blew up. And then all of a sudden he's back.
Yeah.
So,
see, this seems to be a trend with Disney because that was kind of the same vibe with with Endgame, just fan service.
Yeah. So it's like they kind of rush things a lot. And there isn't enough time to explain.
Yeah, there's a lot of tying up loose ends, but not enough explanation.
Yeah. So, for example, like at the last scene where they actually like encounter Palpatine.
Yeah.
Somehow, all the Sith that ever lived within him.
Right.
And it's something that like it's part of the Star Wars lore, and it's like that's super interesting to me because
you're invested in this.
How did that happen?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Rey has all the Jedi within her.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, like, to become a Jedi, you need to be trained when you were little.
Okay.
And that's been like for thousands of years now. And all of a sudden, Rey comes.
Right.
And she, you know, she's old. She's not within the age of like being a Padawan.
Okay.
But then in a span of like a couple of months or years, she becomes like this massively powerful Jedi. Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
Like, it basically undermines everything that has happened before that, you know?
All these years of explanation and setting up like the rules of the universe, and yet.
And then you have this character who's exceptionally really good, who can heal heal any living thing.
Wow.
Which is, how did that happen?
Yeah, like that's, where'd it come from?
Yeah, so I I mean, I definitely like encourage people to watch the original trilogy
Right.
and to like maybe invest in some of like the books and like of the Star Wars legends and like
Mm-hmm.
video games, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right.
It's just, you know, Disney has done some good job in some areas, but like some really awful job in.
Disney just does not seem to like endings.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I believe they're just trying to make money because they're trying to come up with the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that, but I
Right.
hope they don't mess it up because
Fingers crossed.
I'll be so disappointed.
I don't know if you can take any more of that, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one last question sent in for us to end the show on. This is very important. All right. Baby Yoda or Baby Groot?
Oh my God.
I like this question. Thank you so much for sending it in.
That's hard. You know what? I'm gonna go with the OG, Baby Groot.
Baby Groot, right?
He's the one who started this trend.
Baby Groot
Baby Groot.
walked so that Baby Yoda
Baby
could run.
Groot. You know, I f- with him,
Yeah.
and he pulled up for the Avengers. You know, during Endgame. He
Exactly.
came up with he came out of nowhere with Thor
The
and Rocket Raccoon.
sacrifice.
And that sacrifice too. That man chopped his hand for
His whole hand, dude.
for the axe. I don't know what they call the axe.
I don't remember either. But yes.
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker, yeah.
Stormbreaker. So, you know, Baby Groot all the way.
Baby Groot definitely wins.
Yeah. Definitely not that peanut baby.
Freaking, okay, Baby Nut, what? Who approved this? This is what you get whenever you think more about marketing than PR. Because you know they were like, this is going to make money. Did nobody sit there and think Baby Nut?
I was actually confused when I saw the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
And then I went to like social media and I saw the only reason they did it is just like because of Baby Yoda.
It was literally just a Baby Yoda.
But remember, it was Baby Groot who started that. All right.
Baby Groot is the OG. Put some respect on his name.
But Baby Yoda is, I'll fuck with Baby Yoda. But
My roommate loves Groot and Baby Groot. We have like 3 or 4 like Groot things in my house because of her. And so like I have a sense of loyalty to Groot.
Baby Groot all the way.
Baby Groot. But yeah. Well, as our time draws to a close, any final remarks or statements or shout outs or anything else?
I mean, I don't know. Thank you for having me here. It was fun, you know.
Of course.
Expressing my nerdiness.
Thanks for being on the show.
In Star Wars.
Tech and pop culture are some of my favorite topics, so
yeah.
Thanks for indulging.
You know, I'd love to come back again and talk, you know, about many other topics.
Definitely.
But, you know, huge shout out to everyone who listened. Thank you guys for tuning in. And, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for being on the show. If y'all want to have input on the show or ask us any questions or anything else, follow us on Twitter at PODKASTXK, podcast by K. You've been listening to WECS 90.1 FM. This is Podcast with a K, and I'm Carla with a K, signing off. Have a fantastic week. We'll be back next week at the same time on the same station with new nonsense and new guests.